Rev up your engine. All right, you want a kind of luxurious car, you don't want to pay much? I just bought this 2006 Lexus IS 250 for a mere $3,000. Okay, did he make a mistake? Did he get a good deal? Well, we're gonna find out, see if you'd want to buy one of these. First things first, Jay, this thing was made in Japan, and that's the biggest check mark of all. They do make them better in Japan. It's a 2006. It was one of the early models of the second generation. They're in the third generation now. And when we open the hood, we'll show you something. The good and the bad. It's got a V6 engine, FSE. But the downside is, this is the early direct fuel injection system. We're gonna check this one out for sure. And if you are thinking about buying one of these, the first thing you wanna check, absolute numero uno, is it carboned up inside. Because some of the early ones, a lot of because people didn't change the oil enough, they carbon up on the valves, because rather than having the modern Toyota fuel system that has direct injectors that spray into the engine block and port fuel injectors that spray over the valves to clean them, these weren't the dual system. They're just a GDI. And if you're a slob and you don't change your oil, PCV system will throw carbon, clog up the valves, it'll run like crap. And then you got to get it cleaned, and if somebody really didn't take care of it, you got to pull the intake manifolds off, and you got to blast the valves with walnuts. Now, it might sound crazy. It's a sandblasting machine, but instead of putting sand, which would eat the metal up, you use walnuts, which doesn't eat up the metal, but it gets rid of the carbon. It's a gigantic pain in the butt. I got to say, so far, this thing certainly has held up quite well, because we start her up. It has 306,000 miles on it. Now the wood's still in pretty good shape. Of course, the dash, these get sticky dashes, and indeed this has a sticky dash. That's why they put this on top of it. And yeah, somebody had gigantic elbows here, and they wore this one off. Got a little wear, but not much. But the leather seats has held up pretty well. Sunroof still works. It has a very dependable 6-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters if you want. And for an old car that's 20 years old, hey, it's got map voice, destination menu, pretty snazzy, right? CD player, because it's an older car. And it is all-wheel drive, you're not going to get stuck. And it's got fancy aftermarket wheels. Somebody wanted to snazz it up. Cosmetic stuff you're going to see on older Toyotas and Lexuses. Interesting. It's got the rubber, right? And the rubber's starting to rot away, but under it is chrome, which makes me wonder. It's chrome underneath. Why didn't I just leave the chrome? I don't know. You know, it'd be one thing if it was ugly underneath. It looks better underneath than on the top. But they all do that when they age. I mean, the sun gets to them. Now, this car is registered in Tennessee, and that's a big plus. Because the check engine light's on. If you're in a place that does emissions inspection, it wouldn't pass. You'd probably have to spend a small fortune, but many states are getting rid of them. There's actually now there's more states out that don't have emissions inspection than do. So hopefully other people will wise up too. But we're going to see what the code is, and a lot of times it's stuff that you're just going to live with, like my wife's Lexus. The light's been on for over a year now for the evap leak. The stupid canister's leaking, and you got to drop the gas tank. It's a big pain in the butt. What do I care? If I don't want the light, I put my scan tool on, turn it off. It comes back later. I'll turn it off if it bothers me. No big deal, right? But if you do live in a state that does emissions testing, never, ever buy one of these cars if it's got serious codes on it, because something like the catalytic converter could be inefficient, right? It's got 300,000 miles, but it's very expensive to replace them. But they can still run perfectly fine if they're a little bit inefficient. But if you live where you got to replace them, whew, you're going to spend more money than you paid for the whole car. It has a beauty cover on it. Well, it's just kind of sitting there. And you can see, even back in the day, okay, plastic intakes, yeah, they work good enough. They don't really have problems on these cars. And as you see the front, okay, it's solid. This is a strong V6 engine with a timing chain, no belt. You don't have to think about any of the crap but changing a belt, because rubber belt's breaking, it's got a chain, and yeah, you're gonna see as they age, they stretch. I know this has to have stretched. It's got 300,000 miles on it, okay? When I started it, I could hear the little tiny bit of rattle, but it immediately went away, because once you start it up, the pressure builds up on the timing chain tensioner. takes the slack on, the noise goes away. So, you know, that's typical. If they do that when you start them up, you don't really have to worry about it. If they do it all the time, yeah, then it's time for a timing chain. That's really expensive, but it's probably nowhere near that yet because it sounds and runs pretty good. So here we go with the giant scan tool. We'll see what shape this 300,000 mile plus baby is. We plugged it in, started it on. It's a 20-year-old car. Keyless ignition, I'm not a fan, but they work pretty good. I rarely see them breaking these. There's our giant scanner. We'll do a standalone diagnosis. And it's 20 years old, so it takes a little while thinking. Do a whole topology scan, even though it's old. So here we go. While it's doing a scan, we'll look around. Other than the sticky dash, these are notorious for. They made sticky dashes. No one knows why, but they did. The rest of it's still in pretty good shape. Still got a great stereo system. Has heated and air conditioning front seats too. Amazing. Even these old seats are air conditioned. Now he said he's had codes for running lean for a while. He keeps resetting them, but he keeps coming back. So we know we're going to see that. And we'll start her up. Okay, here we go. It's got 9 codes. The main ones are the ECM because he said it was always doing running lean. So we're going to check those out. And here they are. System to lean, bank 1, bank 2. It's all system running to lean. Now he's already tried Bernie's cleaner, and it didn't make much difference. Now the thing is, this is a GDI system, extremely high pressure, and a lot of times as 300-something thousand miles, that high pressure pump could be a little bit weak. We'll look at the data on this as we go through it. We'll look at the brake code here. We'll enter the system, the anti-lock brakes, live data. And what's the code? EV control system malfunction. Well, that's pretty generic, right? C1201. Now, this is a fascinating code because normally on these, it's a secondary code. Something else is causing it. If the engine isn't running right, you'll often get this code, and guess what? It often trips if there's a air-fuel ratio problems running lean. So that's the underlying cause of this. It's their one problem is causing these other codes. It often happens. There's 2 AC codes. We'll take a look at that. We'll enter the system, see what the codes are for the AC. And that just codes for the stupid sensors that measure the temperature. Yeah, they're not going to work perfect. It still blows cold AC, which is all he cares about. So just for kicks, we'll erase all the codes, see which ones come back. The AC code immediately comes back because there's a problem in that sensor system. Who cares, right? The other ones went away, so they're not super hard shorts or anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to start her up. And we'll go to the main codes. We'll go to the ECM, we'll look at live data and see what's happening inside. All right, black is good, red is bad. Let's start looking at some information here. Everything looks good so far. You can see the short-term fuel trim, it is adding 19 to 20%. It is running lean. Now, the long-term fuel trim is still running lean, but not nearly, almost half. So, and the bank 2 is running leaner long-term than the bank 1 is. So, odds are this baby has a vacuum leak because you're going to run leaner at low speeds when low speed is spinning slower. A little air leak affects the air-fuel ratio more, making it run lean. The faster you go, the more fuel's being sprayed in and the less lean. So the short term is going to be much higher than the long-term fuel trim. It's got to have some kind of vacuum leak somewhere. So far, the only real bad data was running too lean. It's adding extra fuel because it's running too lean. Overall, it's not bad. 1.01, right? I mean, the target air-fuel ratio thing's working with its adjustments, so the car's not running bad. We'll see if there's any real bad red data, and nah, there isn't. Now, a very common problem is this. It's a beauty cover. It causes all the problems. Not really. Here's the problem. You got a plastic intake manifold, right? On top of a cast aluminum head. Plastic expands and contracts with the heat and the cold at a much different rate than an aluminum head does. And that motion, only it's a few thousandths of an inch, I'm exaggerating it, will cause the gasket to leak. So we'll spray a little WD-40 and see if anything happens. Right there. I can feel the RPMs change a little. They're just starting to go. And really, I've actually fixed some of these older ones. The customer wanted them fixed when I lived in Houston, and they had to be emission testing. And their gas mileage went down, because if you're running lean, you're using less fuel, right? Sucking more air in. And he's getting 25 miles a gallon on this thing on a highway, which is what they're normally going to get. I'd just say, leave it alone. Unless you live someplace where you have to, then you're going to have to take the top of the engine apart, get all that stuff out of the way. Then you're gonna have to change the intake manifold gasket and pray that the plastic doesn't break when you take it apart, because it's got 300,000 miles and it might snap. Or when you put it back together, then you gotta buy an intake manifold, then the rats take over. You know, one giant rat's nest. So we'll take it for a spin and see how it goes. Road test. It's an old car, but it's still got a backup camera. Check it out. Idling quite smooth. And here we go. We'll see how she shifts. Could barely even feel it shifting. We're already in third gear. You can tell when it shifts, you can see the number, see? Smooth cornering. I can hear the beginning of wheel bearings. You hear that? Woo, woo, woo. It does have 300,000 miles. It's got the original wheel bearings, so you know. Eventually they'll start wearing out. We'll see what happens when we turn the corner. They're not bad, but I can hear it's more the right front one, and that's always the first one to go out, because that's the one you usually hit bumps with, but it's not bad. It doesn't need doing right away. So we'll take her down Tobacco Road here. Somebody's got radar going on here. It might be the planes landing at the airport. I don't know. I find those radar detectors annoying myself. And we'll look behind us. No one's behind us. Let's see what this baby will still do. A lot of people complained it was too heavy and not fast enough. So let's see. Here we go. Yeah, it's not a race car, but look, it accelerates perfectly fine. People complain, oh, it didn't have enough horsepower for a car that heavy. It's not particularly a sports car. It's kind of sporty looking. They're technically called compact executive cars. Hey, if you had over 300,000 miles on you and you still ran this good, and when you want to pass somebody, you punch it and it picks up. Look at that. Look at that. The tachometer even lit up. That's kind of cool when you floor it. Look. Whee! I'm going faster. Oh, I didn't that time. I wonder why I didn't the first time. Well, it still runs quite well. You know? Now, he mentioned he smelled something, and I do smell something. So, it smells like the valve cover gaskets are seeping a little oil, getting a little on the heads, and the aluminum hot heads. It'll just make a smell. Man, you gotta do a lot of work to change the valve cover gaskets. It's a pretty big job on this. It's not dripping on the ground yet, so hey. But other than that, hey, it runs really good. For a $3,000 Lexus. Let's see, anybody coming? Nope, they're gone. Turns fine, no particular clunks. Suspension system still pretty good. No, it is an all-wheel drive vehicle, but I don't think I'd take it into the cornfield, so the clearance isn't high enough. It's still a lot of fun to drive in the twisties. Hey, it's a sporty little car. Got pretty good handling still with 300,000 miles on it. Nice about pulling in front of this car. Handles great, no tire squealing or anything. Check about that smell here. Get out the trusty flashlight, and as I said, you can see under the valve cover gaskets, there's a little bit of oil coming on, and it'll smolder, and that's what you smell. So there you go, $3,000 Lexus still runs pretty good. Now, because it's got a regular V6. It's not a turbocharged. You can still get some V6 Lexuses that aren't turbocharged, but not very many. They don't make this anymore, but they replaced it with like the IS300, but a lot of them have that Turbo 4, which I don't like, and some of them went from the V8 to the V6 twin turbo, and you see what's happened with that, and the Tundra's having to replace a bunch of engines. So these old ones, original engine, 300K, still running pretty good. Hey, for $3,000, who's going to complain about that, right? Perfection? Yeah, you're not going to get perfection, but hey, for $3,000, you don't have to worry about somebody putting a little ding here or there. It's pre-dinged. And it still runs pretty good for a car that's zippy like this, getting 25 miles a gallon on the highway. Nothing to complain about, really. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.